Look, guys, the main reasons why people contact me and my brother when it comes down to dropshipping, it's because of two simple things. The first thing is because they're not having sales, they don't know what they're doing, and they just want to learn the business. The second thing, it's because they don't know how to scale their ads, and they're probably uh, they have a few hundred in sales, like a few hundred sales, but they're not profitable at all. So they're like, okay, what should I do? Like I'm break even, this is, or I'm making a little bit of money but nothing crazy, this is probably not a winning product. And this is where we help them go from you're not making money to you start making money to we're able to scale and we're able to make you a few hundred if not $1,000 per day depending on the product that you have. And today I want to speak about the basic because everybody speaks about so many things. Everybody speaks about CBO. Everybody speaks about different budget, different interests. They speak about bulk interest, single interest, and there's so many things, and people just don't know how to start. They don't know the basic, and that's what I want to share with you today. I want to share the basic of what you need to know so you will be making money no matter what with this strategy. This strategy has been proven to make you money no matter what it is. Obviously, if you incorporate this strategy with other things that I show, then you're going to make way more money. But we'll need a 5 hour long video for that, and it's way more complicated. I just want you to understand the basic. So if you have a winner, you're making at least a few $100s per day by just doing this thing. Okay. So as you can see, we're in my Facebook dashboard. I know this is not Facebook dashboard. Why? Because we use TripleWhale. So TripleWhale is a tracking application that tracks Facebook data because Facebook data doesn't really track very well. So we use TripleWhale in order to track our data. And if you want to know more about TripleWhale, just look at the link in the description below, and we have information about it. So yeah, like I said, this is the dashboard of TripleWhale, but it's actually Facebook. It's just with UTMs and stuff like that just to track it better. I'm not going to speak too much about it because it's not really important. But what is the strategy? What is the strategy that will help you at least make a few $100s per day if you have a winning product? Because this is not magic. This is not going to make you a few hundred or $1,000 per day if you don't have a winning product. If you don't have a winning product, then just scratch it and start again and test more products. That's what you need to do. But if you have something that you see, Roberto, I'm making sales consistently, like we had someone that contacted us a few weeks ago, I believe, I think weeks or month ago, and he was making, I think it was 50 sales per day, and he was break even or unprofitable. Some days he was making money, but nothing crazy. So I'm like, I know I can make you money. That's a guarantee. I will be making you money. You have a winning product. It's just a matter of time. So we focus on this strategy to start the path of making money. Eventually, we work on the creatives. Eventually, we work on duplication, budget, CBOs, all of that, blah, blah, blah. But at the beginning, we work on the basic to make you go from, oh, you're not making money to you're making money. And look at this. Now, on the left side where it says campaign, it's not actually the campaign. This is inside of a campaign. It says Black Friday, new lunch, bulk interest, coat, clothing, North Face, coat, code D3. And as you can see, there's a mix of everything. There's duplication, like the North Face D3, the North Face D1. There's also testing of another duplication like coat clothing and coat clothing D3. And there's also different creative tested like code clothing NC1 to 4. So as an example, or code NC03. So this is just different name to that I called the creative. So that's what it is. And it's same thing at the end. I think it's the before the last interest is the North Face NC01. So again, I've created different creative with the interests that work the best. And what happened? So before that, I speak to you about that because obviously that part is a little bit confusing because you need to test different creative and all of that. But before you need to test a creative, you could, if you have a brand new creative, that you've took from online, or you made yourself, or you took pieces of pieces online, or you just took a photo, this creative is not saturated. This creative, you could at least make 10, 15, 20K in revenue before it gets saturated at minimum. So if you're telling me, Gilberto, like it's been 3 days, maybe my creative is saturated, your creative is definitely not saturated. So if it's definitely not saturated, then what should you do? Well, look, the main strategy behind this is testing different interests. Because let's say that you test 5 interests in the beginning. Let's say that you test 5 interests, and out of those 5 interests, only one was able to optimize properly and was able to bring sales. You don't want to work on that interest because you could lose that optimization. Let's say you raise the budget too fast. Boom, you lost the interest that makes you money. Let's say that you do a duplication. Does that mean that it's going to work? Let's say that you put it into a CBO. Maybe it's too aggressive. It's not the right time. There's a lot of factors that can really impact your store at the beginning because it's so fairly new that it's like you're walking on eggshells, and that's not what you want. Or, well, you're going to walk on eggshells anyway. So you need to find a way to make sure that the platform is stable without any problem. So what do you do? Well, what do I do is I look, as an example, a certain interest. So let's say I look at the interest, let's say North Face. Let's say North Face is the most profitable interest. Okay, great. North Face is the most profitable interest. So I will find other brands or other things that are going to be related to North Face, like expensive taste, like coat, like luxury, like clothing. And I'm going to find different, obviously I've tried different type of clothing. They didn't really work, but I've tried something more because North Face is not too cheap too. It's kind of expensive. So I tried more luxurious words and they were working well. So now I don't rely on only one interest because I have multiple interests that are making me money. So my platform is stable now. I have maybe 7, 10, 15 interests that are making me consistently income. They're consistent. So if one of them, let's say I raise the budget and it doesn't work, well, I have 14 of them. So it's okay. It doesn't affect too much my 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 uh my my store. It doesn't affect too much my store. So since it doesn't affect too much my store, well, then I'm doing the right things. Now I can do CBO because if one or two interests are not doing great, the other ones will carry them. And that's what you want to do. You want to be testing interest. You want to keep testing, keep testing, keep testing. And eventually, when you feel comfortable, normally I feel comfortable with, let's say, 5 to 10 interests that are working and that are making me money. If I'm between 5 and 10 different interests, then now I can do different things. Now I can test different creatives because also, in order for you to test different creative, how are you going to test creative if you don't know which interest is doing well? Because let me give you an example. And this is the mistake that a lot of you are making. You want to try different interests and you want to try different creative. So you test different interests and different creative at the same time. So how do you know which is which? So which one is the failed one? Are the failed the creative or the interests are not working? So which one is not working? You don't know because you've tested different interests and different creatives. So what do? Is I start putting my interest in front, multiple interests, 5 to 10 that are consistent. I see which one are consistent. I spot down the most consistent one. Let's say I'm like, okay, I see that Black Friday, the new launch is destroying everything. Okay, so I know that if I use Black Friday and I test 5, 10 new creative and none of them worked, I know it's not the interest. I know it's the creative. Why? Because the Black Friday interests are working amazingly well. They're working amazingly well. So that's how I know it's not uh, the interest, it's the creative. So at the beginning, again, Maybe that you got a few lucky sales and your interest started to die out. Well, maybe there's other interests that are more consistent out there. But again, keep in mind, don't be in a loophole of testing 500 different interests and sticking into the same thing. If you see that you tested 10 different interests and none of them are consistent, just move on. And if you tested at the beginning on your testing phase 5 interests and none of them bring you a sale, move on. That's how I look at things, because if it's not consistent with 10 interests that you have tested, it won't be consistent with none. Don't try to like test like 500 interests. It's just not going to work. But if you have something that you see it's consistent and it's making you money, but you have a lot of things that are not, okay, shut down what doesn't work. Test as many interests as possible related. Well, actually, the way that I do it, let me tell you, so you could do the same strategy, is I do every time that I test new interest, I test pack of 5 new interests. So what do I do? So I test a pack of 5 interests, but I do 3 interests that are similar to the one that is working. So if I, let's say, choose the interest North Face, I will choose different brands that are related to North Face, and 2 different interests that have nothing to do with that. And that's how I came up actually with the luxury, because I tested 3 interests related to to North Face. I think they bring me a lot of winter clothing. They didn't work. And on the other 2 interests, I tested something like expensive taste, luxury, and those were working well. So I did the same strategy. Let me test uh, 3 same relatively the same interest and 2 different. So now you're testing a little bit of both world. You're just not testing the same thing. Look, guys, at the end of the day, um, I think ads is like a little bit like mathematics. It's a bit of common sense with a bit of just doing what you need to do, and making sure that you isolate the variable. And if you do things properly, you won't have any problem. The biggest problem, like I said, is when people start, they don't know what they're doing. Put your foundation. Start with multiple interests. Perfect. You have multiple interests. It's like if you only have one campaign with one interest that is running, if if it doesn't work that day, this interest doesn't work, because again, not every interest is going to perform every day. And you need to look at a like at multiple day cycle. So let's say an example, on this right here, on this screenshot right here, let me take you an example of Black Friday. So Black Friday right here in front of me, it's $20 per day. So each interest is $20 per day. Great, $20 per day. My product, the profit margin is $100. So what do I do? Is I'm going to let it run uh for 5 days. Sorry, my math is not too good. So I will let it run for 5 days. And after 5 days, I will give my honest opinion. Okay, is it profitable? No. Is it unprofitable? Yes. Let me move on. And now, again, because maybe on the first 3 days, you have no sales. But on the last 2 days, you got 4 sales. So you don't never want to look at your ads in a 1 day window when it's making sales consistently. You want to look at least at 2 to 3 days minimum window. But because I have a bigger margin product, I could look at it at a, let's say, multiple days window. So hey guys, this is what you need to do. Hopefully that you understand. If you don't understand everything, let me know down below. I will be more than happy to help you, because I know it's a lot to digest and there's a lot of metrics, a lot of stuff, and it's only one thing that I talk to you about, but this is the most important thing to start making money. Obviously, there's other things that you need to implement later on, but this is the basic. So yeah, guys, this is the video of today. Wish you all an amazing rest of your day. Take care and peace out.